Thorns. Hey, happy Earth Day, everyone. Today you're going to be reading an article about how things biodegrade. But what does that mean, to biodegrade? Well, let's break the word down a little bit. We can hear the word de, which means going down or going away, and then we've got bio, which is life. But how do things biodegrade? So in order for things to biodegrade, we need a couple of things to happen. Number one, things that biodegrade were once made of things that were organic, things that were once part of the earth, that were once alive, like fruits and vegetables, wood and grass. That's why these things eventually break down. But how do they break down? Well, they break down because of decomposers. Decomposers are microorganisms or even worms or other creatures that are simply there to break down that organic material, because that organic material that they're eating, that is how they break it down. They actually eat away at that material. But in order for things to biodegrade, you need decomposers. So how do we get more decomposers? Well, what we really need is we need sun, and we need water, and we need oxygen in order for decomposers to actually reproduce. And the more decomposers you have, the more biodegrading that actually happens. So when you think about this, you really need those bugs in the ground in order to get rid of a lot of the trash that we see. But does everything biodegrade? And is everything organic? Let's talk more about that. What about landfills and trash? Does that stuff biodegrade? Let's talk more about that as well. The woods behind my house is full of open air and sunlight and warmth and oxygen and water. Landfills, however, landfills can be places where light doesn't necessarily shine and organisms don't necessarily reproduce inside of the environment of a landfill because things are so tightly compacted together. So biodegradation takes a lot longer there than it would, say, in an open field or in the woods out back. You see, biodegradation, like I said, requires organisms to take care of the waste that we do. And all the carrots that we eat, all the food that we eat can be biodegraded. The truth is, all food scraps are biodegradable. But, if I take this carrot and I throw it in a landfill, it's not going to biodegrade like as if I were to, say, throw it in the woods behind my house. Another food that I love are grapes. I know, you're probably getting sick of me eating in these videos, but grapes are another organic food that would simply biodegrade out in nature if I, like I said, throw them into the woods in my backyard. But there was a study called the Garbage Project done by the University of Arizona, and they found that there were some grapes, hot dogs, and corn cobs that were over 25 years old inside of a landfill, and they were still recognizable. Kind of gross. I mean, I would hope that the grape I throw outside here in my own backyard would be gone within a week. And that's typically what would happen. But in a landfill, this doesn't happen because landfills are often void of that light, or they lack the oxygen and the organisms that creatures, that food needs in order to biodegrade, that these organisms need to reproduce. So I'm down here at Washington Township Park in Avon, and I've come back into the woods here and I have found an old rusted car. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. We could talk about how long it takes for something like this metal here to to rust and deteriorate and biodegrade into our So this is the car here. Now, do I know the type of car? Probably not, but if you look here, you can see a lot of it's been rusted out. I'm not going to touch it. Fear might be getting there, but you can see how this has begun to biodegrade through rust and kind of releasing into the environment here. So what does biodegrade and what does not? Well, I thought we'd come up and try to do a little experiment over the next 5 days and check back in on next week, and we'll kind of come back to this. And I want you to try it as well, and I'm going to put a flip grid out there for you guys to post in. But for me, I went ahead and picked out some things that were organic, kind of artificial, and other things that were definitely not organic. The first thing I did was I took a banana from today's lunch. This is a banana peel, and I'm going to simply bury this banana peel. I'm also going to bury some Fruit Loops because these have been processed and they are not simply as organic or as natural as you would find a banana peel to be. Another thing that I got were my favorite Cheez-Its. These happen to be of the white cheddar variety. And last but not least, I've got a piece of bread. I took the end piece because, let's face it, no one likes the end piece. And the last thing I've got is a plastic bag to kind of compare. I'm going to go ahead and bury these outside in my backyard, and I'm going to give them water. They'll get sunlight and hopefully some oxygen, and we'll see if organisms start to break these down over the next 5 days. So I just took a shovel, and within a couple of inches of dirt, I was able to find some worms and other decomposers that might help take care of this biodegrading that I'm hoping happens in my little experiment here. So the first thing I'm going to put down is I'm going to put down my piece of bread. And you can already see, yeah, there's a worm right there. I'm going to then put down my 2 banana peels.
Dad, don't put it on the worm.
Okay. Back up, please. You're in the light. And then I'm also going to put down my 3 Cheez-Its. Now I want to make sure I give it some space here so I can kind of see a difference. And then I'm going to put down my Fruit Loops, which I didn't bring a lot of these out here. Oh, there goes my plastic bag. You want to hold on to that, Creighton?
Mm-hmm. I'll hold on.
Okay. Oh. There's my Fruit Loops. And then last but not least, I'm going to put my plastic bag here. Let me see if I can move my bread around just a little bit. And I'm going to set my plastic bag right on top of this worm right here. And so what I've got is I've got myself a little test area where I'm going to experiment and see which one of these biodegrades the fastest. This is a pretty wet area. I'm going to keep it wet, not soaking wet, but wet enough to give some life here, allow these creatures and organisms to biodegrade. I'm going to have Creighton go ahead and flip this over for me.
So for your assignment today, you are going to go to Google Classroom Science. From there, all you're going to do is you're going to click on your classwork. And in classwork, you should see the topic Earth Day. Once you click on Earth Day, you'll see your assignment for day 2. Assignment for day 2 is actually done in a slideshow. Right now I'm finalizing it, but you'll see the first slide is just a simple introduction. But then over here, I've got day 2 instructions. Here you will find the video that you are currently watching. This video is also linked in here as well. On top of that, you're going to find the article for the next slide. You're going to read the article measuring biodegradability. And then on the next 2 slides, you're going to answer the questions. The first slide just simply has questions that you need to answer. You will answer right here inside of this document so that I can check it. The next part is an activity that I want you to try. You need to pick at least 2 things, just like I did in my video today, where you can bury them near you. Pick one food item and then another plastic item or maybe even styrofoam and tell me what you chose. Then I want you to bury them and record each day that what happens to the item. How does it biodegrade? And that's what you're going to write here. Now you can put pictures here if you'd like, or you could actually just type in what's happened to each thing. This is really up to you what that looks like. But this is your assignment for today. Please check in with me at 2 o'clock if you have any questions.